unleash your inner Goldilocks, how to get it just right. Thank you so much for joining us for another exciting and invigorating hour. And I cannot wait for you to meet our guest today and dive into an amazing conversation. Let's take a moment and talk about why we meet up as a Goldilocks community and what are we trying to represent and accomplish as a Goldilocks community in this world today. To me, Goldilocks symbolizes balance. As a little girl, she knew exactly what she wanted and how she was going to accomplish it. She knew her porridge shouldn't be too hot or too cold. She knew the surface she sat on or laid down on had to be perfectly right because it couldn't be too hard or too soft. Remember when we were that young child? We knew exactly what we wanted and we knew how to wrap every adult around us and accomplish what we want. But somewhere along the way, we've forgotten that it is about influencing others to accomplish goals. And we've gotten stuck in a place where I have to be about what I believe. And whether we consciously say this or not, we stop taking perspective from others. And therefore, we only come from where we sit. Imagine where we are today in the world. We're so polarized. Everybody is coming from where they live, where they sit, and not understanding how a situation or circumstance impacts other people. And what is the risk of that? Research shows that we can each only influence three levels from where we are. So if I'm already at the extreme right end of an issue, I can only influence people towards the center 3 levels in. If I'm already the extreme left end, I can only influence 3 levels towards the center, the operative word being towards the center. What if, just what if, I took perspective, looked at how the issue that affects me affects everybody else, and how we can build a consensus and how I can influence others to move to a better place, because we're all affected by it, but we're all affected differently by it. And finding that centeredness allows me to move towards the center. And now I'm able to influence 3 levels to my right, 3 levels to my left, and everybody else in the centeredness space. I have taken my 3 degrees of influence and magnified it to 7 degrees of influence. Therein lies the power of influence. And leadership itself is the power of influence. Leadership is not the power of position. Positional power is authoritative. Influential power is true leadership. If I want to accomplish my goals, even in my most selfish moments, I need to understand how to influence. And the magical thing about that centeredness and the energy around centeredness is it not only empowers me, it empowers everybody else. And in the process, we end up building shared prosperity, and we definitely get it just right. We get it just right for us, and we get it just right for everybody who's involved. Because if the only reason everybody is getting engaged is to make me win and they all lose, they've got no reason to engage. I have to make it about a win-win shared prosperity engagement. And therefore, we create an opportunity for everybody to thrive. Imagine your own purpose. Your purpose itself sits in the sweet spot of where what you love, what you're great at, and what the world needs wonderfully intersects. If I love something and I know the world needs it, but I'm not good at it, I am not the person who's going to bring that solution or that magic to the world. I always use the example of me and my love for figure skating. I grew up in the tropics. The only place I saw ice was in my freezer, so never grew up learning to skate. But imagine, no matter how much I loved skating, I was never going to be good at it because I'm terrified to get on the ice. The first time I tried to get on ice, I was in my mid-30s, and the only thing going through my mind is how many bones am I going to break? And how long will I get paralyzed, right? So if you don't do certain things at a much younger age, sometimes it's hard. And so I have decided, as much as I love figure skating, and I know the world needs the beauty and the grace of it, I'm not the one to bring it to the world, but I can definitely enjoy it. So how do we each find our centeredness? And from that centeredness, how do we bring our purpose forward? Is integrated into everything we talk about. As we go into today's conversation, I want us to take 3 nuggets of wisdom along with us. The first one is find your uniqueness and thrive. Stop the urge to fit into a box. Build agility and flexibility to become resiliently unique. You were created for a purpose. You are unique. And if you don't find your purpose and you do not make it a point to remain unique, the world is not going to get you. The world is going to miss out on you. And we don't want the world to miss out on you, because the world is going to miss out on something very important. We are each different. We are each unique. And that is how it was created by design. So embrace it. Don't put yourself in a box, and don't allow somebody else to put you in a box. Be you. Be proudly and uniquely you. The second nugget we take into the conversation is look within and harness your success. Everything you need to succeed in life is already inside you. Boldly draw from within. And today we're going to talk about, how do you find that hidden potential? How do you find that hidden strengths? And then how do you truly live your purpose? And how do you live a fulfilling life? Third idea we're going to take into the conversation is, it is your time when you are ready. Don't let anybody else tell you when you are ready. You know why? Because we are each a flower free to bloom during our season. Imagine having a garden where all the flowers bloom only in spring and they're all the same color. How boring would that be? That wouldn't even be a garden. A garden is about having flowers of different shapes and sizes and colors, and that bloom and add color and vibrancy in different seasons, so that all through the year there is some excitement and intrigue. We are each a flower. Don't let anybody rush you into blooming before it is your time. And don't let anybody stop you from blooming when it is your time. So remember, you are unique. You will bloom in your time, and work towards it by finding your purpose and remaining resiliently unique. Today, to have this exciting conversation with me is a brand new co-author of an anthology, Nermine Zakhary, and she's here to talk about hidden potential, how to find your strengths and full potential. Nermine, welcome to the episode.
Good morning, Cass. Thank you.
So excited to have you here. Let me give you a brief intro about Nermine before we jump into an invigorating conversation. Nermine is a certified people's acuity coach and positive intelligence coach, specializing in helping others strategically apply their strengths to accelerate their performance, energy, relationships, and results. As a PQ coach, Nermine adds the important layer of helping clients grow their mental fitness, the next steps in ensuring lifelong application of strengths. She coaches individuals and small groups. She also facilitates workshops to teach strengths strategies to clients so they can define their optimal zone and thrive there. Nermine comes to strengths and PQ coaching with 15 plus years of experience in the training industry at Highland Hospital and Xerox Corporation. She holds a master's degree in education, specializing in instructional design for online learning. She is also a co-author of the anthology Ennobling Business for Success, scheduled to be launched on October 5th, 2023. Nermine, I am so excited to welcome you to this episode. And I want to kick off with, how do you feel about entering the world of co-authorship, bringing your ideas of tapping into the hidden potential to unleash the opportunities for organizations to ennoble business?
Well, first of all, Kat, thank you very much for having me this morning, Cass. I'm truly, truly honored to be here and excited about our conversation. How do I feel about being a co-author? I told you a little earlier today, I never thought that I would, never in my dreams did I think that I would be authoring, be a co-author, be an author of any sorts. Writing has always been it has always felt like a real challenge for me. I agonize over my words, and I didn't think I'd have enough to say. And lo and behold, I had too much to say and had to start paring it down. But I think the why behind it really, really drove me and helped me stay focused. And I'm thrilled to be a part of this project.
I can actually see the energy and the joy in you as you're talking about it. So give us some insight into why you chose this topic about finding the strength and helping people unleash their hidden potential.
Oh, it's I've become so passionate about this topic. And it stems from my personal journey. When I first uncovered my strengths, I never even knew that was a thing that I could learn about. When I did the Clifton Strengths Assessment about 10 years ago, I started to understand things about myself that I hadn't. And I started appreciating how I show up and how I contribute, instead of coming down so hard on myself all the time and wishing I could be like somebody else. Mm-hmm. And that was my world shifted when I had that discovery, so much so that I wanted others to have that same experience, for us to stop living in what we think other people want and expect, and really own who we are.
Such a beautiful journey that you are verbalizing here. And I can imagine how this is going to shift life for other people. The two key things that resonated with me is the fact that we are surrounded by and live in a world where everybody reminds us what is not working, what are our weaknesses. And you are focusing on the strengths and how to use the strengths to tap into the hidden potential and unleash the full potential, right? So that is one thing. And the other is the fact that don't let other people define you. And two things that we forget and we get sucked into. And as folks around the world today are struggling with everything that is changing so rapidly, we are living in an age where business is changing, economies are changing, the way we live are changing. And it becomes critical for us to take that inward journey to find our strength. What would be a couple of nuggets of wisdom you will share with people to actually take that time, no matter how busy they are, because it is important?
Oh, you're so right. We live in such a fast-paced world. And it's always about accomplishing the next thing, accomplishing the next thing. And we don't slow down long enough to reflect and understand who we are, and understand what's going on, and how am I showing up? Am I really accelerating and where I want to go, or am I putting barriers in front of me? And I would encourage people to start this self-discovery. And I prescribe to the Clifton Strengths Assessment because that's what I was introduced to, and I've trained to use. Take the assessment as a first step, and revel in what you're uncovering. But the piece of paper and those words don't mean anything until you have a conversation with somebody and start to understand and reflect. How was I using this? How does this show up? How does it serve? How does it sometimes get in my way? So those are the things I would encourage. Just start the self-discovery process and have a conversation.
That is amazing that you said not only take that moment to be introspective, but also ask those important questions. How can it help me? And how is it getting in my way? Because we sometimes forget inner strength is also our weakness. We can't overplay our strengths. How do we play it just right? Kind of like the way Goldilocks does, right? How do we get it just right? And what is that right balance?
Yeah.
So for yourself, Nermine, how do you find that balance? And how do you stay focused? Because you are a full-time professional, you are a mom, you are a wife, you are a homemaker, you are an author, but you also need to make time for you.
Yeah. I think it's having invested even early on, invested just a little bit of that time, and recognizing the impact that it has made. And I think that's what keeps bringing me back. It helps that I have these conversations on a fairly regular basis with people in my world and my clients. But I really try to, I understand the triggers now, and I stop and and if I'm feeling a little frustrated, Nermine, what's going on? What's too much of something or too little of something? And where can you strike that balance? So you can show up as more whole and more effective. So it truly is about striking that balance. Goldilocks really had it right. Had it right. She absolutely had it right. It is about finding that balance.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So when organizations are trying to figure out, do we go full-time remote? Do we stay full-time on site? How do we find that balance? How do we work with 4 or 5 generations in the workplace? All of these are bringing up questions that is going to require everybody to find the strength of every individual and group of cohorts. What advice do you have for businesses that are trying to make these decisions? How would you guide them to ennoble their organization so that they can find their balance and thrive?
Yeah. Oh, that's such an important question. I think it's by truly caring, and that's with an authentic ask. What's important to you? How do you like to work? How can I pour into you? How can we uncover your strengths? Let's have a conversation about how it is you love to contribute, where you really want to make a difference in our company. What do you need in order to show up at your best? And how can I support you? when an employer has that kind of a conversation, and it's not just ticking a box, Cass, it's not just ticking a box, it's about really caring and about doing, if going down this path, doing the assessment, having a conversation, and then continuing the conversation. Not just a one and done, not just a, hey, we know our strengths. I have a piece of paper on my wall now. It's uncovering and then continuing the conversation and applying what we've learned.
Absolutely. And as you're explaining, what's coming to my mind is that's where innovation and growth happens for a company. Any company that doesn't ask those questions and authentically care about their employees to allow them to be empowered and bring their potential forward, people are just going to show up and do whatever they need to do, just enough not to get fired and get their raises. Yeah. And so that becomes a very negative spiral. And some organizations are not psychologically safe for anybody to engage in anything. What advice would you have for young people and mid-level emerging leaders in organizations that don't have the psychological safety, but who know that this has to shift and are trying to figure out how to get their management understand that people matter? It's not just profits, it's not just outcome.
I think it starts with really a strong self-awareness. Really owning, first of all, know who you are. Own your strengths. Own the gifts that you have and your value and what you bring to the table. Secondly, be very clear about what you need in order to show up at your best. And start to pay attention to the strengths around you. Perhaps a way that we can influence others is by recognizing their strengths and inviting them to play along with us. So perhaps even if it's upper management and it's not that it feels unsafe, it's uncomfortable. When you begin to notice other people's gifts and how they are impacting your world in a positive way, and you highlight them, and little by little, you put out nuggets of positive energy into the world, into your space, into your work environment, people will start to respond. There's no better gift, that uplifting gift, than to feel seen and appreciated. So for as much as we're able to do that, take the focus off of us for just a little bit and put it on somebody else. That gift will come back to us many times fold.
I love how you said that, Nermine, because sometimes people in management positions are the way they are because they themselves feel alone. They themselves feel like they are swimming upstream by themselves and there's nobody to support them. And no matter how we think they make us feel, we believe and we feel the way we feel. Giving them a little bit of positive energy and showing them the beauty of how they are.
Yeah.
It's hard for people to say and openly claim that, no, I'm not that nice person. I'm not that caring person. I'm totally, a horrible person. Nobody's going to say that. So how do we find the ability to take their strengths and their positive energy and show it to them so that they can continue to build on it and amplify? Did I rephrase that right the way you intended?
Beautiful. Yes. And it starts actually when you, as individuals, when we start to discover our own strengths And we start to learn the language, we start to learn what to look for. We recognize it in ourselves. We'll start to recognize them in others. There may be that are foreign, some that are foreign to us, and that's all right. We talk about those, we'll learn about them. But when we start to learn the cues, what do I pick up on from somebody else? And even without a strengths language, we can start to notice something somebody does, pick out the 10%, even if I'm not getting along, or if I don't feel seen, there's at least 10% of something they're doing right. Where can I find it, and how can I recognize it, and how can I amplify it and make them feel seen and appreciated? So starting the journey will help you with the language and will help you uncover and find the cues. But as human beings, and relating to one another, just starting by that, I can find 10% of something that they're doing or saying that I can recognize and help us move on.
Absolutely. And one of the things that's coming to my mind as you're explaining is this has a wonderful application in our personal lives too. This can help strengthen friendships. It can help strengthen families. It can help strengthen marriages. This is not just a way for us to ennoble success in the business place, but it is also ennobling our own lives to live it meaningfully. So I see you smiling.
Yes. I love that you said that, because I often, in a coaching conversation, clients will ask, do you want an example from work or from my personal life? I said, from anywhere. Your strengths go with you everywhere, and they show up and they serve us in our work, in our homes, in all of our relationships. So
that is the beautiful thing about strengths, right? And as we identify other people's strengths, the more we see it in other people, we also can start reflecting. And as we mirror each other in those interactions, we're going to find those common grounds, and then the relationship becomes more cohesive. Can you talk to us about an example where you started in a not so happy, constructive relationship, and through the process of finding and balancing the strength, the relationship has improved and now things are working well? Because I think that will help others think through how they can apply it.
yeah, I can give you 2 examples. One, going on this journey, this personal journey, and being able to start to articulate and own my strengths, my contributions. Part of that journey is also understanding and being able to speak to what I need. And one example is at work. There was an unhappy client that wanted to, or a customer at internal customer at Xerox that had written a kind of a rough email, and I was really struggling how to respond. And I kind of sat in it for a little bit, and then I asked my manager, I need help. I need help with the words. I don't want to struggle. I don't want to sit here for 2 hours trying to figure out what to say. Can we write this together? And he lifted a burden off of my shoulders. He felt honored that he was able to help in something that comes very easily for him. And it wasn't that bad to ask for something that I need. And it was a gift for both of us. We wrote it, everything, we diffused the situation, and everything was fine, and we did it in partnership. In partnership. Another is, the one that comes to mind is actually in interaction with my husband. because we have some similar strengths and we have some very different strengths. And something I realized, there was a point of contention through, especially early in our marriage, about planning versus living in the moment. And there were certain expectations. Without going into a lot of detail, he's very strategic, and I'm very much living in the moment. He just wanted me to be able to plan a little bit, and I'm not explaining this right, Cass. It boils down to being able to ask for what I need. When I needed, it was learned for both of us, learning how to ask for what it is that we need in a safe, non-judgmental space. And it was owning my strengths that allowed me to speak up and say, this is what I need. Without it, we kind of were always, we're putting, when I'm negative and when I feel put down, it's hard for me to come up and own, ask for something that I need. I'm sorry, I'm going around in circles. It boils down to when we feel confident in our gifts, then we're we feel a little bit more free to be a little bit vulnerable. I think that's where I wanted to bring us. When we have some
brilliantly said. Because when we feel seen and we feel valued, then we truly are comfortable showing up with our gifts, and we are truly comfortable contributing for the greater good. And how do we get people to that space of positivity and positive energy so that they can, without any worry, without any psychological safety concerns, they can truly fly?
Yeah.
So what I am hearing you say is finding the hidden potential and using these strength tools and embracing a life of living and amplifying our strength and sharing it with others and asking for others to share their strengths for us to lean into, creates this cohesive shared prosperity that we all ennoble one another, and we are creating an environment, whether it's family or business, it's going to thrive.
Beautifully said. Yes. It's each of us bringing the best of who we are to the table, and knowing that the other person the other people hold have the gifts to fill the gaps. So together we complete the picture and accomplish the work faster and better together.
So the picture my mind is painting is an orchestra, a symphony. We each play an instrument, but we can't make a symphony by ourselves. How do we bring it all together to make a beautiful, beautiful orchestra, beautiful event? And then different times, different instruments are going to get amplified too. And that is part of the beauty. I'm a visual thinker, so this is the picture my mind is painting.
I love it. Each of us gets to shine. Each of us gets to contribute. And each of us together leave with the sense of, look at the beautiful symphony that we have created. Look at this beautiful thing we have accomplished together. Look at the impact that we have made together. And look at the beautiful smiling faces in our audience who have just thoroughly enjoyed the music that we've created together.
Very much so, very much so. And then this positive energy becomes contagious, and it feeds off of each other. And it also creates that positive energy that magically starts opening doors. Before we started the episode, you and I were talking about how a lot of times we don't even know how we got to a place, But all of this energy is coming together and doors and windows are opening and there is so much brightness. And we just have to embrace it. Talk to me about how you are feeling as you're taking this authorship journey and you're living your value of unleashing your hidden potential, leveraging your strengths. So you are experiencing something differently too in this aspect of your journey. Share with us how that feels, because I think audience can take a page from that and it'll resonate for them when they are taking that part of the journey for themselves.
Yeah. I feel blessed. I feel accomplished.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm leaning into my purpose of service and just being the mirror that reflects back to you the beauty I see in you. I want you, and I want everyone in our audience, and I want everyone listening to step into their potential and their gifts and to uncover them and to live them every day. And that's what writing this chapter, being a part of Ennobling Business for Success, interacting with you and the amazing co-authors, I feel like I'm, again, really truly stepping into my purpose and opening the doors for being able to serve.
And when you started the journey, were there fears, were there trepidations? Because we all feel that is human, right? So as we step into something that is calling us, we know it's something that we want to engage in, but then there is this little voice in us saying, oh, but do you want to? Are you sure you can do this? All of these, the negative side of the self-talk. How can one overcome that? How can one deal with that and amplify their strength and their purpose? Because there's always those two voices in us.
Oh, that's part of the growing our mental fitness, right? Which is, again, our capacity to live in a positive mindset instead of the negative one. And it's recognizing, it's recognizing the negative voice, because the negative voice will take me on a downward spiral. And when I can stop and recognize it and say, thank you for alerting me, and shift the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and again, lean into what's the gift, what's the opportunity here, and take some deep breaths. Mm-hmm. Talk to a trusted friend, coach, advisor. That's what I did. I was ready to. I was on a call with a dear friend and fellow coach, and I said, Linda, I have this opportunity. I'm freaking out. I don't know what to do. Should I do this? Should I not? Part of me wants to step in. Part of me is just wants to turn around and run away. And she coached me into saying, yes, Nermine, go do this. You've got this. And this is just the beginning.
And we're all better because of that decision. So thank you so much, Nermine, for trusting the process, stepping in and truly taking your tools and applying it to yourself and showing the world that it's not just for the benefit of the others, it's truly for empowering and exciting your own journey. And how do you keep the light inside of you continually burning? And how do you take some of that light and share it with the others to light up their path? So I am so grateful and happy that you took this journey. You took this with trust and faith. And we have our co-authors and our audience here with us to jump into a continuing conversation. So with that, I am actually going to open this up for a vibrant conversation with our live audience. So Karen, I see you there smiling, and I know you have something to share, so go ahead.
Good morning, Cass. Good morning, Nermine. It's been a great conversation. I've really enjoyed it. I so resonate with what Nermine is talking about, because, you know, working with helping people get to their fullest potential is just such a vital part of, I think it's a vital part of what I do as well. And it's a vital part of what all of us need to be doing for each other in the world. I mean, really, the only way that we are going to truly solve all the world problems and really, you know, not only just business, but all the challenges that we face, it is, to your point, Nermine, working together and bringing our biggest strengths to the table. So I just love that you're embracing that and you're bringing that forward.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you. I just love the energy and the share there, because it truly is about, we may all play in similar spaces, but there is enough for all of us to do and then some. So we don't have to truly feel like if I give somebody a positive reinforcement, if I play with them, somehow I'm going to have fewer marbles to play with. No, there's plenty to go around. And the true joy is in that sharing and in that supporting and that celebrating. And thank you for showing how that can be done, Karen.
Well, you're welcome. I mean, it goes back to abundance. And, you know, that's been a big thing for me. That's been coming up a lot for me recently. And we live so often in a world where everybody has the scarcity mindset. You know, if I have something, somebody else can't have it. Or, you know, if somebody else has something, you know, we have to take it away from someone and give it to someone else because, you know, things are not fair, right? But if we really step back and look at the abundance in the world, there is enough for everyone. And if we're all living to our full potential, then there's more than enough for all of us. And so, yeah, absolutely. I want to live my life from an abundance mindset. And it sounds like you and Nermine are also doing that.
So, Nermine, as you can see, we're building a beautiful garden, right?
It's beautiful. And it's, Karen, it's reinforcement. It's, you know, it's reinforcing the message, and each of us brings it to our contacts, it brings it to our circles in a unique and special way. And whether it's each of us individually or when we come together, people will resonate with the message because of the energy that we bring and the passion we have around it. And again, it's the reinforcement helps us kind of stay, because sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it's hard. So thank you for that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Robin.
Oh, it is so great to hear you, Nermine. What an absolutely wonderful message. And I loved, especially at the beginning, when you talked about how you discovered that you didn't have to beat yourself up. You didn't have to be somebody else, but you could be you, your own beautiful self. I also loved where you talked about, you know, looking for strengths in other people. And if you only find 10% of good in someone, look for that, bring that out, and then that what we look for grows. I have a question for you. I've heard of the Clifton, and I definitely am going to investigate that. And I know that there's other strengths, you know, surveys or assessment tools like the via the values and action through the positive psychology world. And I'm wondering if you could explain, what are some of the similarities and differences between different methodologies or assessment strategies, and is there value in doing multiple and kind of seeing where they overlap and finding the strength in the strengths assessments?
Yeah. Oh, thank you for that question, Robin. I would, yes, there's definitely value in doing several different assessments. I happen to prescribe primarily to the Clifton strengths, but I also invite my clients to do the VIA character strengths and also the Marcus Buckingham Standout assessment. And they speak to us in different ways. So Clifton strengths are, to me, they're more actionable. They're more of how we're showing up, what we're doing. They're more extrinsic. People will notice them in how we show up and how we behave. There are the natural way that we think, feel, and behave. The VIA character strengths are positive traits that we have that are more intrinsic, that are motivators, and are the ones that, when they're present and when I'm using them, I'm really in a state of balance and showing up at my best. The Standout assessment by Marcus Buckingham is based on 9 roles, and it's when I'm on a team, what's the way that I contribute the most? And I love using these because honestly, every time I read my Standout assessment results, I get chills, because it's true. When I look back to my past successes, the events and activities that I'm the most proud of, this is who I was. This is how I showed up, and this is how I made a difference on this project. And what a confidence boost. And that's what I want. That's what I want for my clients, for everybody that I speak with. Own it and go do it. The world needs what you have.
Beautiful. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Brilliant question as always, Robin. And I love how you tied it to the fact that the world needs each of us. We are resiliently unique. We need to find that in us. We need to have that mental stamina to remain resilient, because everything is constantly changing. But at the same time, be proudly you. And that sometimes is a message lost, Nermine. People forget that they have to remain proudly themselves. What are some of the tricks or some of the mental exercises one can do to remind themselves? Because we have so much external input that's telling us of what's wrong with us. People don't think twice before they tell us 50 million things of what's wrong with us. How do we tell ourselves and remind ourselves what's right with us?
The questions that was the hook for me was just stop for a few minutes and reflect on what are the things that you look forward to, what do you enjoy doing, and what makes you feel strong. When you stop for this was it's either in the Strengths Finder 2.0 book or one of the books by Tom Rath. And this was the question that was presented at the workshop I attended, and where I learned about the Strengths Finder 2.0. And it was that question just really helped me. It kind of helps us shift into more positive. We're quick to think, what did I do wrong? What didn't go right? Where is the person sitting next to me doing better? This allows me to just focus for a little bit on me. What do I look forward to? What do I enjoy doing? And what makes me feel strong? And reflect on your past successes. You have them. remember them and think about what was it that allowed me to step up and be and achieve that success. And how can I do more of that? How can I do more of that?
Brilliant. How can I do more of that and maybe even keep a diary, a list of all those accomplishments and keep adding to it? Wonderful, wonderful advice. Thank you so much, Nermine. Elisa, Cruz, any thoughts, any questions you want to add to the conversation?
I enjoyed the conversation. It's definitely something that I struggle with sometimes, and it is helpful to have somebody kind of hold up the mirror. But it's another tool is to be able to find that yourself. And I'm going to try that. I had not heard about the Standout. I was familiar with the other two, so I look forward to trying that. And I mean, I guess what I would ask is, this isn't really business related, but when throughout the conversation, I was thinking about, like, I have two kids, and how do you kind of foster, is there like a test for them to identify their strengths, like an elementary school based test, or do you just kind of, because you don't want to force them in a direction either, like so what would you recommend? It might not be your area of expertise, but it's just where my mind was going.
Well, Alyssa, I love that. And I love that you're looking at how do you support your children, your family on this journey. There is an assessment for children ages 10 to 14.
Okay.
Strengths Explorer, it's called, and it's available on the Gallup website, Gallup Strengths Center.
Okay.
It's based on 10 strengths, and it reports back to your child's top 3. And then there's a workbook and guided conversations for you to have with your children, things to start noticing, ways to talk to them about their strengths. So it's a beautiful thing to start fostering in your daily family life.
No, that's good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to check that out for sure. Because there's a lot of, I think when Karen was talking about kind of staying, that and you as well, about that there is enough and not to stay in that scarcity mindset, I think is something that, at least with my older daughter, is really struggling. That's what got me down this thought process path, with, it's not fair, and there's a lot of, you have to teach that life doesn't always appear fair, but you have to kind of keep going, find what you're good at and where you can be successful, and there are a lot of times opportunities, but that's tricky too with everything in the news these days. So it definitely is a hard parenting is not an easy job at all, but that's a great resource, so I'm gonna check that out, and next time my older one gets down that path of it.
I hope you'll reach out and let me know.
Yeah.
So, what you uncover together, and the difference that you start to notice as your daughter starts to kind of live up to and own the gifts that she has.
So thank you. Are you on LinkedIn?
I am.
Okay, I'll reach out to you there and look forward to following up with you. So
I appreciate that. I look forward to that, Alyssa.
thank you.
This is a perfect segue for us to build on that amazing way of introducing our children and our family into strength finding and helping them growing up with understanding their full potential and their strengths. So Nermine, why don't you take a couple of minutes and tell us how the audience can find you, how they can contact you, how they can stay in touch with you.
So I'm on LinkedIn, on Facebook, Instagram. Would love to connect. Please reach out. My email is Nermine, Nermine at strengths-edge.com. And I would just love to have a conversation. Please reach out. I'd love to know what resonated, what really spoke to you, and I see how we can change the world together and spread this message and really support people in lifting up growing our confidence and lifting up the people around us. So please do reach out and connect. And if there's a way that I can be of service and help you on your journey, we'll see where that takes us as well.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that information, Nermine. As we bring this to a close, we've talked about strengths. We've talked about finding our hidden potential. We've talked about finding the 10% in everybody as a starting point to build off of. All of these insights and brilliant ideas are going to hopefully keep us moving forward in that positive energy. What is the one piece of closing thought you have for us to take into the world today, tomorrow, as we step into the weekend?
Oh, my wish for you is that you own your gifts. I want you to, let's together, we can help figure out who you are so you can own it, articulate it, then go do it on purpose, because the world needs the unique gift and the impact that you will make. My invitation to you is to rise to your strength's edge because it's in you.
Thank you. Thank you for that amazing piece of guidance and an amazing call to action. And I cannot thank you enough for being open and thoughtful in engaging in this meaningful conversation. I am equally honored and proud to be taking the authorship journey and getting ready for the book launch. So a shout out to all the authors and to the audience here. Look for the Ennobling Business for Success anthology that is scheduled to launch on October 5th. You are going to have insights and guidance from Nermine and her fellow authors. You do not want to miss this. It is going to be a promotion. There's going to be a promotional offer on day one. So follow Nermine, follow the authors, follow these conversations over the next 2-3 months, and make sure you invest in you. This is our gift in helping each of you find your gift, live your purpose, and build a beautiful garden and thrive. Thank you so much to my live audience, because you make this show possible every week. And my guests are truly, truly individual stars that come out to shine and brighten our garden every day. So thank you so much, everybody. And we invite everybody to go to Transform with Dr. Cass, the YouTube channel, to watch this and other episodes. Each of our episodes are going to be launching every Thursday. So go to the YouTube channel, subscribe, so that you get notified when the episodes are launching and you can be a part of it, you can benefit from it, and you have opportunities to connect with the guests and continue to build your journey. So as we always say in the Goldilocks community, every human interaction is your opportunity to transformation. So go out there and transform lives. And in that process, please remember to transform yourself.